European merchants started sailing into Indian ports to buy sugar, cloth and spices. Soon, Indian rulers gave some permission to set up permanent trading posts. By 1640, the British had 5. Over the next 100 years, British traders did very well. They made a lot of money for themselves and for the British government, and they wanted to make more. So when local rulers refused to let them trade freely in their area, the British went to war and forced them to cooperate. Gradually, the British took control of more and more of the continent. No Indian rulers remained independent. And in 1877, the British Queen Victoria was proclaimed Empress of all India. Many British people had come to live in India and run the country. Some were in the army or worked for the government. Others built roads and railways. They set up hospitals and schools. There were factory managers and businessmen of all kinds. But many Indians didn't like the way the British ran the country. They felt the British were making too much money out of India, and this was making many Indians poorer. Several terrible famines. Over the years, there were plenty of uprisings and protests against British rule. Sometimes, leaders were arrested without trial. On the 13th of April 1919, a terrible tragedy occurred at a festival in the city of Amritsar. There had been demonstrations all over the country and violent riots in some places. In Amritsar, the local authorities banned all public meetings. Despite the ban, people gathered for the festival, and some people were making protest speeches.
But when a great power like that strikes defenseless people, it shows its brutality, its own weakness, especially when those people do not strike back.
The crowd was entirely unarmed and peaceful.
But if we riot, if we fight back, we become the vandals and they become the law.
This army unit was commanded by a man called General Dyer.
They are the vandals.
Should we issue a warning, sir?
They've had their warning. No meetings.
— 375 unarmed people were killed. This massacre shocked all India and made Indians who had never thought about politics before turn against British rule. Back in Britain, many people were shocked too, and General Dyer was forced to leave the army. But many other British people supported him, and this increased the protests.